this project is a convergence, really, of all of those factors. It's the digital, it's the new parametric modeling. You know, being in the 21st century, being able to use absolutely state-of-the-art contemporary tools, working with the highest level of industry, because at this level, with a company such as Renault, you know, automotive world is leading in many respects, like aviation and biotech, in pushing new materials and manufacturing techniques. So yeah, it's a test doing a car, but it's also an opportunity to sort of unleash all of those feelings about nature, the role of nature and technology, a form of organic liquid expression, placing the human being at the absolute epicenter of the project. You can see that the steering wheel here, in the position of the pilot, is where everything is emanating. All these lines emanate from the energy field, if you like, of the driver. I mean, often people drive a car on their own, so it's very important that it's sort of human-centric, and in this case, driver-centric. The lines and the color palette, not to sound too superficial, are there in order to energize the concept, to add a sort of a clarity to the internal space. When you sit inside the vehicle, there's two things that happen. Because of the fluidity, the absolute liquid fluidity of the way everything is seamlessly uninterrupted, this expands the space. Lons van der Acker, the head of design, he can't believe how such a small car can actually give you such a spatial experience. The second factor is the roofscape. The roofscape is particularly important on this project because, you know, I've been working for almost 20 years now in the evolution, the progressive evolution of lighting technology through the brands that I work with, such as Artemide, and I brought a lot of that knowledge and thinking to bear on the car. So all the light points and implementations, from the headlights to the human irises that you see at the front, they're inspired by a sort of a natural technocracy, something which is more of an avatarness than it is a sort of mechanical industrialness. I'm convinced, as I often say in a lot of interviews, that the world is going to progress from a very fossil fuel, heavy metal, industrial position to, not immediately, but into the future, into a very biological scape. I think architecture is going to become much more biological. We're already seeing this incredible organicity coming in the way that we can manipulate flat materials into shape. Look at the work of Zaha Hadid and so on. Very clever parametric modeling in order to create volumes. Nobody's doing that in the field of industrial design, to my knowledge, and that's why my studio for the last 15 years pretty much has been pioneering that position of 21st century, absolute state-of-the-art technology, design, art evolution from a water bottle through to a car. The seats are born out of something that I've been evolving for a long, long time, which is this concept of OE, organic essentialism. Organic meaning the way I think and the resulting form from that, but essentialism being nothing more or less than you need. If you look at the skeletal structures, from a dinosaur to a modern living creature, what nature does is it removes anything extraneous. It boils it down to the absolute synthesis of structure and form and material. This makes perfect sense to me. It's something that I can't really argue with. So I've been practicing that since day one. You see the seats, in fact, the seats branch off a central node. Everything is branching off the node, the Galaxy tablet and the pair of seats. This does a number of things. First of all, it liberates the space. You see that there's no visible means of connection on the outside, makes it feel lighter. But this is effectively a two-component seat. And to my knowledge, in the car world, this doesn't really exist. It exists more in the office furniture world. You see, this is not exactly standard, but it's there. This is a double thickness three-dimensionally woven technopolymer stretch material, and basically you bag the frame. The frame is a carbon fiber frame, so that's not going anywhere. It's nothing more than a tennis racket, really. And what that does is, first of all, it lightens the product, because lightness is everything. If you're running something on fuel or fossil fuel or even batteries, lightness is everything. So that's a huge shift. Secondarily, the whole car ventilates beautifully. You maintain a body temperature. You don't overheat in panels of your body, because car seats are generally lumps of polyurethane foam upholstered by dead cows. It's hardly modern. And all the couture and everything that goes into that doesn't make sense to me. So in a sense, what might be very normal for me in my design world is not normal in the car world. So it might look a little bit like my Andromeda light for Yamagiwa, or my new nature light for Artemide, sure, because I did it. And it's the same with the rear seats. So this is a breakthrough, and even now with Renault we're talking about how we take that further into production, which is really interesting. Other nice little dream jobs, touch the tactile stuff. I mean, that's my love of life, and even if I'd only got a chance to do a series of like 6 or 8 steering wheel studies and put them on my wall, for a designer that's absolutely brilliant. But it's something that should be taught in art college, in design schools. I think they should do things like make studies of how you hold and, the interface, because it is pilot-centric. That's enough, without the rest of the car. And there's other elements. I mean, when you touch the steering wheel, it's the same as the outside of the car. Modern cars are generally shiny, and there's an over-preciousness for me on that. How can you sleep at night if you've got a €120,000 car outside? I don't understand that. So I think the idea of matting objects is interesting, and then what that does is, when you open the vehicle, you get this incredible wow factor. Normally in cars, the outside is incredible, and when you get in, you think, it's not very interesting, is it? Everything's black, pretty much standardized, for various reasons, by the way. That's a supply chain issue. This is a concept car, but if you took this into full production, maybe you wouldn't have this colored ribbing effect, because that's quite expensive to create. But even if that was a light gray, a lovely dove kind of light gray with the ribbing, it would be lovely, because the idea is that all the ventilation comes out of the ribbing. There is no little dials and things. It's all done on your Galaxy Pad and then integrated, holistic integration. Your smartphone or your communication device as such becomes everything. It becomes the sort of Genesis tool, because basically you can diagnose what's wrong with you. You can hold it against your brain and it can give you certain diagnostics. That's all in the motion right now. You can mate, so you don't even have to transfer information. You just touch and go. All of those things. And when you relate the smartphone or the smart communication device to lifestyle, you think about your life. So you think about being in the bathroom and all that sort of stuff. You think about going into the kitchen. Maybe it's got a tool in that sense. But you also think about the role of the phone within your car. So it becomes your key, the chiave. So to open you, to enter your world, your car is everything, with all sorts of biomimetic programming and so on. Breath recognition, which is a whole new factor that's coming in. It makes sense that your smartphone will be the device which is a prosthetic, actually. It's the missing link in the human condition. And so you come in, pop it into your car. By the way, smartphones have this incredible battery life already, so there's a really lovely relationship between a battery-operated car and a battery-operated mobile device, because the car is a mobile device, and it's alluding to the fact that in the future, when technology really comes into play in the car will shift from being a car with technology in it to being technology with a car sort of around it. That's my anticipation. I wanted to capture that feeling that you get driving through Tokyo at night in a glazed roof car or open top. You get this twinkly, movie-like feeling. It's glamorous as hell. And to have that effect on a fairly accessible car is not bad. So the roof, yes, is plexi. and it's machined out and it's layered, and we embed LEDs in the frame that project through, and then they're captured on the milling and the etching into the plexi. When this was done, I mean, this is quite new actually, it sort of starts with the back of the car, because I like that idea that when the car brakes you get this incredible like poof, and then this lovely soft migration over the roof. Yeah. So this is my briefing within my own team and Renault of what to achieve. The irony of it, this is a concept car, so it's acrylic at the top. In production, it's easier to do in glass. Renault, when they build a concept car, it's so close to reality. So instead of seducing your audience, they'll be going, wow, that's amazing, look at that. And then they buy this boring, dumbed down object. There's no reason why. I mean, at the moment, I would say there's 50 to 60% of this that could absolutely hit the market. So that's not bad. It's not a bad start.